Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin back again, and today we are going to be reacting to a Bryce Crawford video titled Preaching the Gospel to a Muslim. Here I guess we can overlap some of our Christian audience with our Islamic audience out there. I don't know, but this came as a request from one of our fan base people. They asked if we would react to this, so I took a look at like the first minute. Didn't seem too crazy. I might open up for some good conversation. But anyway, yeah.
All right, let's field this request and watch this.
Guys, we're finally back after a little break, and I was just recharging with the Lord, spending solitude with Jesus, planning for 2025. Starting off the year, we're headed to a mosque, and we're gonna go actually talk to them about Islam and Christianity. I'm gonna challenge them on some of their beliefs. I'm getting new into this thing. I'm trying to learn more about Islam in particular because it's one of the fastest growing religions in the world. So this is a challenge for me, actually stepping out and challenging these guys in their faith. It's gonna challenge me to grow and seek Jesus, and it just strengthens my relationship with him, getting to learn more about these religions and why Jesus, it really is the way, the truth, and the life. But it's going to be a great 2025, and to start the year off, we're headed to a mosque, going to challenge people on Islam, preach the gospel. It's going to be powerful. So let's go to the mosque and talk to our friends about Islam and Christianity.
Did you see that energy? Was that an energy drink he had in his hand that said renewal rain? I think it even had Jesus on it. I don't know. I'm just curious. Let us know what renewal rain is.
That'd be so interesting if there was a Christian energy drink.
Oh my gosh, interesting.
I think a lot of my Muslim friends that I've talked to, all of them were raised Muslim. Was that the case for you? Were you raised Muslim?
Yes, no, I born Muslim.
And where are you originally from?
Egypt.
To be considered a devout Muslim, you would, from a basic understanding, you follow the 5 pillars of Islam. Fast, pray,
right.
Give alms to the poor.
Right.
And that's one of the main things I respect about Islam and the Prophet Muhammad is he gives alms to the poor, and you pray. And from a Christian, I understand as a Christian, I have a hard time praying sometimes, and I know that Christians can be some of the greediest people on the planet because I've seen it. So I respect that about the Prophet Muhammad. Another thing I respect about Islam as a whole is that it's just you and Allah. It's just you and God. That's it. That's just, I have so much respect for that. When I was reading the Quran in Surah 101, Allah weighs the good and the bad. When you look at those 5 pillars, giving alms to the poor, praying 5 times a day, these things that would mark a Muslim as a good, devout Muslim, these things would be considered good deeds that help the scale. Allah essentially weighs your good and your bad.
Right.
And if your good outweighs your bad, that's amazing. Absolutely. And if your bad outweighs your good, I believe the words in the English were your life is then like hell. I think is what it said. I could be wrong.
In the life is gonna be tough for sure if you do not take God's route and His commitment. It's gonna be tough, but and the hereafter is gonna be more tougher.
Yeah. And so, do you know as a Muslim if you're going to paradise?
The Muslim guaranteed if he turned to God and he believed in only one God.
So would you say yourself that you're guaranteed going to paradise?
So we, according to God, He guaranteed for us if you're doing good and you return with God, to Allah and die with no kufr, with no rejection, with no associate with God, another God, this is guaranteed of us. Who guaranteed it? Not me. But God, He guaranteed it for me, yes.
Right, yes. So I think that's kind of my understanding, and I think...
And by the way, I'm sorry to cut you here, this is the same thing what Jesus said. Jesus said when He come, I just read it. You see the little Quran today in the morning, and for just like 1 week ago, I read that Jesus, some people said, oh Master, how can I get to the kingdom? He said 2 things, believe in God and do good.
That's one of my issues, respectfully, with Islam, is like, when I talk to my Muslim friends, kind of like what you said, I said, so you for a fact know if you're going to paradise, and you said, well, like, if we do these good things, Allah, He grants us that wish, essentially, but we're not necessarily not for sure, you're not guaranteed because it motivates you to do good. And I think when I look at that, when I look at Islam, it's about the works. It's about doing the good.
Yes, sir.
And when I look at Christianity, And when I look at Jesus, because I believe Jesus is God, that scripture that you brought up in the Gospels, you had these religious guys, the Pharisees, and they were all about keeping the law. In the Old Testament, we believe that God gave 613 laws and 10 commandments to Moses, and Moses brought it down. And in order for you to be in right standing with God, obey the law. And if you messed up, sacrifice an animal, and it covers the atonement of your sins, blood, justice, everything. Well, when Jesus, I believe that Jesus is God, the Pharisees in that passage, they're trying to trip Jesus up. They're trying to catch him for blasphemy. And they say, which of these is the greatest laws? Because those religious leaders, they knew that you couldn't say one law was better than the other. And Jesus summarizes every single law under this one truth. Love the Lord your God with your whole heart, with your whole soul, with your whole mind, and with all of your strength. And so my first issue with Islam, my Muslim brothers that I know, they're working so hard to please Allah, but they never know if they're doing enough.
Just like
So I feel like this is an okay time to stop, right?
Sure.
To interject a little bit of our own thing. One of our videos recently, one of the comments in there I noticed was like, because we were interviewing a Christian, was like, above Christianity, which religion do you guys like the best, or something like that? It was like a question. And maybe I
answered it.
Maybe I misinterpreted the question, but it seemed like people thought that we valued Christianity over the other ones.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: we've mentioned it like so many times that we grew up in going to church as Christians, but this whole thing is very tricky. Because when somebody is committed to a faith, whether it's Christianity or Islam or whatever, I really think of them, I kind of lump all old world religions together in a way. There's variations, especially when it comes time to like when certain things like emerged and what the culture was like when it emerged and all these different things. It's like everything's more complicated than it seems.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I don't believe any religion. Like I don't believe Christianity and not Islam, or believe Islam and not Christianity. I don't believe in any religion in that way. And it's very tricky. And I see it when I see two religious people of different religions talking with each other.
Yeah.
That I don't believe that's it's probably possible that every now and then people convert and they go over to another religion, they're talked into another one, like people convert people, but it's just not the type of conversation I want to have, because I see religion, organized religion, differently than somebody that takes for granted like a question of like that it's true, like that it's just assumed that there is an afterlife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand that I could suggest that maybe there's not even an afterlife at all, or maybe even God doesn't even exist. And I'm aware of the gravity of a statement like that, and that some people will, you know, I might even say something in terms of Jesus, like, okay, let's take Jesus. And because it's often brought up that the Pharisees were trying to trip him up, and the devil, sometimes Christians say the devil, you know what happened when Jesus was on the cross? The devil was laughing, thought he got him. Yeah. But then Jesus came back, and I'm going, Jesus knew he was going to die. Jesus knew he was going to die. Don't you think that informed his behavior?
Yeah, in the story, yeah.
Like in the story, Jesus would say things, and then people would go to apprehend him. Yeah. You know what I mean? If he was knowledgeable in some way, and even predicted his death at the Last Supper, he knew the response that was he likely had insight. If this story was real, he had insight into the outcome that was going to happen. It was part of a plan. It was prophesied in the Old Testament, wasn't it, to some degree, or something along the lines. And so to sit there and like judge the people that helped follow through with the plan of him being the sacrifice is like, I can't even begin to communicate that, because I know it will be met with, it's not like that. It's not as you're saying it, Justin. I know the religious mind. I know the religious stage that where people are at, and that's how they reinterpret things. It's what is it called? Circular
reasoning.
Circular reasoning. I just thought we'd break up the video a little bit to like touch base with that. I'm not overly judging any one of these characters here, but I thought about that you know, when we approach certain things, and then the misinterpretation that people can have sometimes. Oh, you guys like this. Oh, you must be this. What's your angle? What's your agenda? All this stuff. It's like you're misinterpreting a very basic observation.
We're watching perspectives here, and you know what drives me crazy is when like a door-to-door salesman knocks on my door. I can't stand it. I usually don't have much time. It seems like kind of an awkward conversation because you have two people who obviously clearly have put their stake in the ground on where they stand on a philosophy or an ideology or something like that, and they're looking at each other across the table, and they're whether or not people out there can see it, there's a jousting going on here, kind to lay the foundation to like relay their thought the right way. He's literally wearing a sweater that says prayer on it, and I don't know if he's in a mosque right now, but he's talking to a guy who clearly has his beliefs in what he's doing, right? And so to me, it seems like it'd be kind of awkward. Like, I can't stand talking when someone's coming with a mission that they're trying to achieve. I can't hear any of the good things. They're like, "This is a nice house you live in, and you got a nice clothes on." And
I see your point very clearly.
I can't even. All I want to do is get you out.
I know somebody that has said, they said, "I don't like salesmen, but I love a good salesman." Like they don't, because it's that thing that you're talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Everything is so dripping with agenda.
Yeah.
That I can't who you are speaks so loud I can't hear a damn word you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's fair for all of us. That's often the case. People might pick up on something about me that I'm not even aware I'm exuding.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's okay to know things that even the individual doesn't know. Yeah. And when you are approaching someone with a sales pitch, and they're like Eddie Haskell charming, you know what I mean? You're like, why is this grating on me?
Yeah.
Well,
look at the body language of the person he's talking to. Right now, his arms are crossed.
Folded in.
Fold like
not
this.
Receptive. not eyes open for receiving, but closed off. That's not a judgment. We do. We all do this kind of stuff all the time.
I would be that way. Yeah. Probably. But anyway, it's a long video, so we'll continue on.
Any student, I get your point. But like any student who work all the day long or all the year long, he doesn't know he's going to make it or not until he make the test and the result come. It does make sense.
Yeah.
So, but what about in the middle or before the test or before the exam that you said, you know what, I got it, I'm fine, I'm going to do this, and suddenly you go to the test and you cannot answer anything and you fail. So here is kind of respect to the will of God. I do not, the judge is a judge. God is a God. He is the one in the final. He said, you are going to best to the judge or not, according to your work. How about if I make a lot of work, but it's hypocrisy work? How about if I pray for the people to say, oh, mashallah, he's a good guy, and he praying God. Or I donate, oh, he's a generous guy. Or I'm making pilgrimage, oh, it's Mr. Hajj.
Yeah.
So the work you're going to do, it's going to have 100% tension for God only, and you don't associate with him. So what I'm saying, Islam actually presenting the right case, that you work hard, as long as you take God's field, and you know his straight path, you follow his commitment, and even the Ten Commandment you just for Moses is still part of the Islam, and you're gonna guarantee the prize. Do I have to tell you this? He said, if you do that, you're gonna be enter paradise.
When I asked my Muslim brothers, they never know if they're doing enough. When I ask them, I say, are you confident? And they kind of say the same thing you do. They say, well, I don't know, it's by the grace of Allah. If Allah's grace, He lets me in, but it's up to their good deeds that put them in right standing with God. They work, and their deeds put them in right standing with God. So I grew up in Georgia. In the South, Christianity is a very prominent religion, but I hated Christianity. I hated the God of Christianity because there were pastors in my community that were telling me what to do with my life, and they would do the total opposite of what they were telling me to do. Hypocrites.
That's what
did not like it. And so I hated Christianity. I hated anything to do with it.
Don't say that.
Originally I did. You're okay. I did. I have to be honest. So I grew up, went to school. In the 8th grade, I got severe depression and anxiety. I was depressed and anxious all the time. And it felt like an incurable disease for years. So when I was 17, I started to research all of these religions. Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. And a lot of people told me, you just need religious structure in your life and things will be good. So I was researching religions, trying to figure out maybe if I have structure in my life, my depression and anxiety would go away. Well, as I researched, I was confused because they're all different. You have Hinduism and Buddhism, they all worship thousands of gods. And they're all just trying to reach enlightenment. But the Hindus in particular, they believe in reincarnation. So they believe you get a bunch of tries. And to me, if you get a bunch of tries, your life has no purpose. Then I look at Islam. And like we were talking about earlier, it's like Allah always you're good and you're bad. And all of these religions, aside from Christianity, it was like God was on the top of the mountain. And I was climbing the mountain trying to get to God. So in Islam, do good deeds. Climb the mountain. Climb the mountain. In Hinduism, better build a good dharma. Don't get karma, because karma makes you a bad guy. So don't do it. And it was climbing the mountain. And I tried to fix my depression and anxiety on my own, and it never worked. So there was a night where I said, if I can't fix the hole in my heart, would you agree we live in an evil world? A broken world? If in the broken world, evil world, I can't fix my broken heart, then I thought, how could I ever work to perfection? To me, it seemed impossible. So on December 25th of 2020, I was going to take my life because I was tired of my depression and anxiety. I went to go have my last meal. I had an encounter with Jesus Christ inside of this Waffle House. And he spoke to me when I was inside of Waffle House. And I cried, and he stopped me from taking my life. And so I went into my truck, and I said, okay, Jesus. I asked Jesus. That's what came out of my mouth. I didn't say Allah. I didn't say Gandhi. I didn't say Prophet Muhammad. I didn't cry out to anyone. I said, Jesus, if you are real, take away my anxiety and depression. And he took it.
Well, beautiful effort, Bryce. Keep studying the Bible. You know where you're going to end? You're going to end here in Islam next to me. He's never say I'm God or anything. I don't hear this from. But let me tell you from the whole idea about the crucifixion that somebody have to come and die for. Just give me the opportunity that I can listen to you. The whole crucifixion sending wrong message to humanity or the creation of God. Why? In the end of it, people call the Christianity or whole Christianity that God, he killed God to satisfy God. Can you tell me where the peace in the land after Jesus Christ being killed or crucified according to Christianity? The crucifixion, what the crucifixion wisdom can best to humanity? That someone innocent, he died because a bunch of criminal, and because God, he can forgive me without killing his own pure son. So if God, he cannot enforce the fair and justice. The fair and justice in the whole incident is not a clicked here. What so significant from Adam to the day of judgment, Jesus come in the middle. Do you believe God is fair and just or not?
I do.
Why? God, he doesn't send Jesus immediately after Adam, he make his sin, and he said, you guys, Adam and son of Adam and coming over, you guys terrible, you're making a lot of sin, you're making a lot of killing and this is my son, I'm gonna kill him for everybody. This is fair and just, right?
I just wanted to pause a sec to acknowledge how hilarious that was, that
shift.
That kid told such a compelling and heartfelt story that evokes empathy and everything, and the guy's response was keep studying it, you're gonna end up right here next to me. Something about that was just hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to me, it shows you we're, regardless of what, it doesn't matter what you believe. The harder you believe in something, it's going to tract. You're going to get pulled in. Everything is going to pull you into that thing that you've already validated to yourself as the solid foundation of reality. Everything is going to confirm it. So his story, as compelling as it is for him to bring him to Jesus and to become a Christian, the guy on the other side of the table sees even his story as a thing that validates his thing to bring him to Allah, that brings him to I know what that story that you're talking about. And that's the story that just before gets you right to where I'm sitting right now. And I'm sure right now, even as they're talking right here, the other guy's looking across the table and aha, but even the thing that you know.
I think sometimes in society, it's a little bit hard to have an open ear to somebody younger than you.
Oh, yeah.
We had a boss one time that I think said, he used to say something like, you can't know anything till you're 30. For some guys, it's 35. And as a young person, you're like, what is that? I know things. What are you talking about? And then you get a little older, and it's not necessarily true. There's, of course, people that know things at a young age, and there's wonderkins and all kinds of stuff. But But the older you get, you start to you just are like, okay, like you understand the kind of eye rolling that happens sometimes. And I'm not saying that about this kid. I think he's impressive. He's more impressive than I was when I was his age. Look at how articulate he is and how brave he is. And, you know, and I'm looking at this guy, the other guy too, who's got himself together. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think about what the Muslim guy said, following that kid's thing in terms of like, what was the last thing he was talking about? Like enforcing God's rules or something like that? Maybe I missed.
The part that I picked up was kind of like what where the conversation seemed to shift was it kind of was getting into some of the nitty gritty theological beliefs about Jesus. And so he wanted to, like, after hearing that testimonial, he took it into a theology conversation to say, like, you know, that's good that you had that experience, but it's going to bring you here because the theology.
But right after that, he seemed to be.
Maybe I missed it.
We probably interrupted it at the wrong time. So I guess we'll continue.
Sure.
Maybe you'll see what I'm talking about.
Or he gonna wait, hold Jesus until the day of judgment. After the whole Adam tribes come and died, and he said, okay, the result after long life, I found you guys terrible, you're making sin, you disobey me, this is my son right there, I'm going to sacrifice for him. It's not fair and just for God. Why you choosing the middle of the time? And what about the people that didn't hear about Jesus before? Don't tell me how they gonna get judged according to what? Don't tell me about the prophet. Because right now to believe in Jesus, you're gonna get saved. They have to follow the prophet. This is absolutely two different way of judging people. Keep studying. And you're going to end here, I swear to God, not 2-3 years, you're going to end here, probably my imam, and I'm praying behind you. I give you 2 years. If you study the same enthusiastic and same activity about Jesus and nature of Jesus, by God, you're going to be Muslim. Because Islam, you cannot understand what happened for Jesus until you read the Islamic perspective. You know, Jesus, he said, in Matthew 22:7. Go check this verses. You know what he said? In that day. Which day? The day he's going to return. Because we believe as a Muslim, he's going to return. A lot of people, they're going to go to him and say, oh God, by your name we take the devils out. By your name we cure the people. By your name we make a lot of miracles. You know what he's going to tell you? Get away
Depart from me. I never knew you.
You know what? Because you make him God.
Well, you said the reason he says that is because he's saying, yeah, because I'm not God. That's the reason that you said. That's why you brought that scripture up. And then you even brought up, you said, well, Jesus comes in the middle, so all the people before. What about them? Because now, after Jesus is a Christian, you're right, my faith's in Jesus. Jesus saves me. Those people that you say, well, what about them before Jesus? Or Jesus says, depart from me because he's not God. It's all about faith. Hebrews 11 in the New Testament, he says, look at Abraham, Isaac, Moses. He even mentions this woman named Rahab, which in the Old Testament, she's a prostitute. What in the world? And he says, look, all these people, yeah, they obeyed the law. But the reason they obeyed was because they had faith. And they're all justified by what? Their faith. And it flows into Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12 verse 2, where he says, and we look to Jesus Christ as the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. Meaning the reason Jesus Christ, I believe that he truly was sacrificed, was he looked at me. Because you mentioned also, you said, well, God doesn't need to die for himself to forgive me. He just forgives me. And in Islam, that's true. You're right. Allah just forgives you. But the sacrifice was necessary. Because as a just God, like a judge, God forbid, if I were to stab you right now, I'd get arrested. And I'd go on trial. And the judge would look at me and he'd say, man, you stabbed Tariq. You injured him. You deserve jail time. That's just the truth. I deserve to be punished. And I deserve my punishment because of my sin. But the reason I'm justified isn't because I pray 5 times a day as a Christian, or I fast, or I give alms to the poor. The reason that Abraham, Isaac, Rahab, they obeyed the law wasn't because, oh, if I do enough, God's going to let me into heaven. It's no, I did it out of love. the same way Jesus, it was all about love.
So after continue this, I love the example you bring it up. Let's say I am the judge. You the one stab Osama.
Sure.
Okay? And you kill him. And I'm a judge. I'm so mercy. I love you so much. I know probably your best was hard a little bit. He make you this kind of a criminal. Probably you was Mexican. I gonna figure any kind of excuse to set you free. And guess what? I'm the judge. I said, you know what, Bryce? I love you. I understand about your past. Probably you don't mean to kill him and all this stuff. I have some mercy on you. Let me bring my son from the house, and I'm gonna, because you deserve the death penalty, I'm gonna kill him instead of you. I'm gonna put instead. What that gonna enforce the fair and justice? What kind of shown is mercy to bring innocent one or even part of me to replace you? Don't tell me because God He loved the world. God He can love the world with no blood of Jesus Christ. God He the King. He can forgive, and this is what Islam said. All you have to do, just ask Him for forgiveness, and God is the most merciful, the only merciful. He have a mercy, tons. All you have to do, just ask for it.
But Jesus Christ being God, you talk about, Bryce, when you read the Quran, just separate everything that you know and humble yourself. Jesus Christ, I believe He's God. He didn't have to do anything for me.
That's an interesting verse. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, right?
Yeah.
And I would say be careful with that one, because, don't for so love the world at all, because you'll for so love the world into hating it. I used to say, for Justin so loved the world, he hates it. Because that's the other side. What are you loving the world so much for? Don't love it and don't hate it. And look at the insanity that happens due to love and hate. Drop those distinctions. Stop loving and hating things so damn much. Just as a little lesson.
Side note.
You're gonna end up like hating something in some delusional way or loving something in some delusional way.
Deserved it. I messed up. I'm sinful. I deserved it. And I know you say love, but it just is. He humbled Himself. Jesus doesn't just tell me, Bryce, obey the law and do it, and that's just it. He humbled Himself. Jesus says, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. I came to show you how to live it. And then in Matthew 22, He says, depart from me, I never knew you, to those who say, well, you casted out demons, we cast out demons in your name, we prophesied in your name, we healed. He's not saying that because He's not God. He's saying, depart from me, because He's saying, it's not because you do good things that get you into heaven. It's because you love me. It's because you put your faith and trust in me. Do you watch basketball? Let's go to the Los Angeles Lakers game and sit courtside. And we got courtside tickets, Tariq. And we go down to security and you say, we're sitting courtside. And security's going to stop you right there and say, you can't get over there. Why should I let you in? Now, when I ask college students that have no faith, well, if you died right now, why should you go to heaven? They say, well, I'm a good person. I do good things. Or I love people, I'm a good person. That's what I hear. Regardless of what you believe, that's what I hear. The security guard's not going to say, Tariq, I'm not letting you in there because you're a good person. It's because you got tickets. It was given to you. I gave you the tickets. Jesus Christ humbles Himself, lives a perfect life, dies on the cross for the sins of the world. So it's not that there's no mercy, or it's not that the justice isn't served. The justice is served. But why would an innocent man take the punishment of a guilty man? Love.
The time is prayer is already coming. But you're more than welcome to ask one more thing. Absolutely.
I want to pray for you, if you would let me.
Pray for, please.
Is that okay? God, thank you for this day. God, I love you. God, I know I believe that Jesus is Lord. If Jesus really is God, would you reveal that to Tariq? I love you.
Amen.
Amen. Bless you. Thanks for our conversation.
No, good.
Bless you, brother.
I'm gonna help.
All right, guys, I just wanted to finish out the video by clarifying just a couple of things that Tariq was saying. Tariq, his main issue with Jesus being God was the fact that he didn't think that there was a necessity for the forgiveness of sins through the death of Jesus Christ. But here's the reality, okay, is that sin separates us from God. It is a massive debt that we pay. Death is the punishment that we deserve for rebellion to God. That's the reality. We deserve it. It's the justice system. You do wrong, justice is deserved. And because we've done wrong as mankind, we deserve death. But God loves us. He has compassion on His children in such a way that He died the death that you and I deserved. So He paid the debt that we have with Him. He humbled Himself, took on flesh, lived a perfect life. So Jesus Christ understands how you and I feel in hard times. He understands the same temptations we go through better than anyone else on the planet because He is God in the flesh and lived a perfect life in the same broken world we live in. And then He died on the cross, submitted Himself to the cross. And Hebrews 12, it says, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. How, as Christians, do we run the endurance race of faith? How do we build longevity with Jesus? He says in verse 2, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before Him, He endured the cross, despising shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. The Bible says He who knew no sin became sin. Jesus Christ bore all sin on the cross, past, present, and future, and we look to Him as the perfecter of our faith. The reason we're able to endure through hard times, the reason we're able to build longevity with Jesus Christ is because of Him. It's because we look to Him. He gives us the strength to persevere. And it says, for the joy that was set before Him, He endured the cross. Tariq couldn't wrap his mind around it. He said, it does not make sense that an innocent man would take a guilty man's punishment. And it doesn't make sense. And that's the beauty of it. It's radical love. It's sacrificial love. It's a love that doesn't make sense. It's a peace and love that surpasses all understanding, because the way that seems right to a man, it leads to death. Any normal man would say, I don't want to take a guilty man's punishment. That's not my junk. But Jesus Christ says, I want to take that punishment so I can be united with you for an eternity. And you and I were the joy. We're the reason that He took on the punishment. That's the beauty of Jesus Christ. We don't have to work to Christ. He came down. We don't have to work to God. We don't have to work to perfection. Perfection humbled itself, came down, endured the flesh, lived in the same world. Perfection died on the cross and defeated the very thing that separates us from Him so that we can be united with Him. Guys, I pray this video will encourage you guys. I love you guys. Go get the new merch, JesusInTheStreet.com. Come to the live show January 19th, JesusInTheStreet.org/tickets. Love you guys. See you guys next week.
Cool merch. I appreciate that graphic design merch. It's pretty cool. Whether you're an atheist or whatever, I encourage you to go buy some merch.
Intense character, you know. The good thing about it is at least they hugged at the end. That was, you know.
I was noticing the guy off to the side just watching them.
Yeah, to be able to have conversations, that's better than warring. You know?
Hell yeah, man. Let's have more hugging in the world, for Pete's sake. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
That was good. On the love side of it there, he was kind of like breaking down the, like, you know, saying Tariq couldn't understand the whole sacrifice thing and paying for it when you could just ask God for forgiveness. And then let's also just bring into here that this is all stipulated on action being taken to get God's love. So, because whether or not you choose to follow Allah or you choose to ask Jesus for forgiveness, both are contingent on you taking action to try and somehow get the love of God. I think whether or not God's real or not, the love of the universe or love in general, maybe it's not contingent on anything. I don't know. Maybe the universe accepts you no matter what you do. And that's really hard for, I think, people to take into account. They want it to be based upon something. Because then they always jump to, like, what's the point of life if God accepts me no matter what? If God accepts me no matter what, what's the point in doing any of this? And why does there have to be a point necessarily?
Well, just to me, it brings to mind questions about acceptance versus rejection.
Yeah. When
we first learn about being accepted or versus being rejected.
Yeah.
When do we first learn about acceptance and rejection? How does that play out in our minds? Our notions of that, or what's appropriate or inappropriate or right or wrong? Yeah. You know, like that's something we encounter a lot is, you know, most people have kind of like, it's not up for debate whether or not right and wrong even exist for most people. I would say, like officially on paper, if you have to write an answer, most people would have like, I guess I don't know for sure. But it awfully seems like in all our machinations as humans that most people believe in a baseline right and wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course there are plenty of ways to be in society which are acceptable and non-acceptable, and we kind of get signaled whether or not our behavior is acceptable or not acceptable depending on where we are, depending on what culture we happen to be inhabiting. You get feedback about whether or not you're accepted or rejected.
Yeah.
Doesn't that play a factor
sure.
in these deep-rooted notions of acceptance and rejection?
Yeah. It makes me thinking just about the morality factor there. Like, we had an apologist on the show not too long ago, and for the Christians watching this, you might want to go check out that interview where we had Greg Kokel on. But morality, I don't think, is just so lockstep. You know, everyone seems to think that there's like this fixed good or bad. I don't think everything is as black and white as everyone thinks it is. I think what's right for one culture may be totally different for another culture. And I think we've seen it in history where cultures have taken on different morality. And so it's not the same for everyone. Which then, you know, like whose is the best?
There's an invitation to, like, I'm not trying to get last word. I'll just say this, and then you can say whatever you want if you want. I'm just saying there's an invitation to look at things like that, cultural differences, and then even look at the nature of reality and like how certain things were formed. Like, well, wait a sec, okay? We all seem to value fresh air and water and stuff like that. Like many cultures, it's abundant access to water. There are, of course, people that are like, there's got to be a way to charge for that. There's got to be a way to even charge for air.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, you know, you could make sweeping blanket statements like, okay, let's get some hard and fast rules. Does everybody need to eat? Yes or no? You know?
No.
Like, yes, like everybody does seem to eat. And there's always an outlier. There's somebody out there that's like, no, actually, I absorb my food. I'm a sun gazer. And there's always like something out there that deviates from what seems to be common.
Yeah.
And in this way, you could I'm inviting to think it all the way through. Think through morality and why it might exist. Question things about like, well, you know, is it found in every aspect of reality, or is it really a matter of morality? Some of the survival-based cultural structures we have. Is it a matter of morality, or is it a matter of something else, like some kind of cultural development? It's just an invitation to think about things in those terms. If you can. If you can't, and your brain goes, nope, that's devilry, and I must go back and reinforce what already feels right, well then have at her. Yeah. There's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? But if you are open to broadening your perspective or changing your perspective a little bit, that's a fun thing, I think, not a fun thing. That's a pertinent thing to sit and introspect about, is the true nature of, well, what would morality be if I didn't take it for granted? If I didn't take for granted the served on a dish notions of it, if I crafted my own opinion about what morality really is.
Yeah. Well, something to think about. Hopefully, guys, you enjoyed our reaction on this. We'll close it out here. If you did like it, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone, till next time,
stay spiritual.